Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, something is very fishy with this research vessel. See what I did there? Fishy. Will these 5 young people be able to survive the creatures from the abyss?
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Unchained from the content Nazis! Yes! Episode number 26. 26 in this carnival of carnage, this caravan of calamity, this catastrophe of civilization. I don't know. Anyways, so tonight, coming off of last night's very gory, very nasty ritual of death. I keep wanting to say ritual of blood. I don't know why, but anyways. So tonight we continue into the cheese factory with a movie that is kind of a conundrum for me, because on one hand, it has a very interesting premise. The movie's kind of sleazy, which is always a plus for me. The special effects, there are some really nice creature effects and some nice gory bits. But on the other hand, it's also got horrible acting, a plot that kind of doesn't make sense in certain areas, and it kind of just becomes ridiculous toward the end, and the other special effects that they use outside of those really good ones are absolute garbage trash shit. I mean, literally. So what movie am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Creatures from the Abyss, otherwise known as Plankton, but I mean, that really doesn't make sense. But anyways, what is this movie about? Well, a group of friends are at the beach in Miami and decide that it'd be a great idea to get into this little rubber raft with a outboard motor and go out and have some fun on the ocean. Well, unfortunately, one of the guys in the group is a real jackass prankster and decides to leave without one of the other guys, and so he's rushing to get onto the boat while it's sort of like, 20 to 30 feet out by now, and he of course leaves the fuel tank, and lo and behold, they run out of fuel in the middle of the ocean. Well, not the middle of the ocean, but far enough out to be a problem, and it's dark, and they're trying to get back to shore, and then all of a sudden it starts storming. Just really rain. It doesn't seem like very rough waters, and so they're desperately trying to get the water out of the raft, and then they see in the distance a boat. And so they make their way to the boat, go onto the boat, and it's some sort of oceanic research lab, though the prankster guy actually thinks it's a drug lab, and everyone was killed because they couldn't find anyone. There was nobody to be found, no bodies, no nothing, but there's these strange fish specimens in the lab, and they're like, well, it's raining, so we're gonna just kind of like stay the night and figure out what they're going to do. Of course, the jackass is like, no, this is a free boat. We're going to just bring all our friends over and make it a party boat. Because for some reason, the living quarters is very swanky and high tech. And it doesn't make sense that it is. If these are just like regular scientists, I don't know why they would need these weird things. Like this one guy's room has this gigantic stuffed bear and a lamp that's a dong with the light bulb on the tip, and to turn it on, you gotta do things that YouTube doesn't approve of. So, anyways, well, they are not alone, of course. There is this thing looking at them in this weird little fish vision, and soon things start to happen. Well, you know, they have a meal, they eat one of the fish that they cooked up, but one of the girls thought that it was moving even though it was dead. And of course the jackass was tasting some of the medical powder stuff, thinking that it was drugs, but it's actually some sort of infected plankton, or I guess maybe that's why they called it plankton, but really that's about it. And of course, they are also attacked by this monster fish, and they find this doctor who seems to have been attacked but is still alive and is gone crazy and is always trying to fill this syringe with this smoking vial of whatever it is. Anyways, so the story is, are the kids, well, they're not really kids, are the guys going to be able to make it out alive, or are they going to become fish food, or are the women going to become vessels for fish children? Yes, vessels for fish children. So, let's get to those scores, shall we? Violence and Gore, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 because it does have some nasty bits in this movie, and sure, some of the special effects are laughably ridiculous, but there are actually some decent, like there's a scene where the jerk-ass is having sex with one of the girls, and he kind of transforms or whatever, like it comes out of his mouth like a fish head or something, and it's really nicely done. And there is a bit of blood here and there too, so yeah, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Shock value, 1 out of 5, just because there was this scene where one of the guys confronts the doctor and goes, how long have you been fucking fish? And he's like, they were old enough, and I'm like, I had to stop the movie. I had to stop the movie and rewind and listen to that again, because I don't think I'm like, did I hear that right? Did he say, how long were you fucking fish? And did his response be that they were like legal age or something like that? And sure enough, it's the guy's like, how long have you been fucking fish? They were old enough. I'm like, why? What? And then the next line from the guy who was accusing me was, look, man, it's okay. I understand. These things happen. No, those things don't happen. Those things do not happen. People do not just end up fucking fish. They don't. They don't just happen. I'm sorry. Whatever. Shock. No scares. But that was shocking. 1 out of 5. So plot, 2 out of 5. Look, that was an example of what didn't make sense of the plot, because they didn't really make anything of it. Like they kept talking about how like the fish would become sexually aggressive and stuff like that. But the strange thing is that that jerk guy was already sexually aggressive, so it didn't seem like the fish was possessing him at all. The one chick who ate the bad fish and started vomiting up insects for some reason. You would think she would be vomiting up fish, but no, there was like a couple beetles. I don't even know how that's possible. And then, of course, she vomits in the bathroom, and then people use the bathroom. There's a shower scene. That's a lovely shower scene. And yet the vomit is still, like, would you think they would not have taken the time to clean up the vomit? I don't know. But everything goes ridiculous toward the end, and you know that they're no longer taking anything seriously. When the computer is saying, warning, there's danger. First, I don't even know how the computer knows that the ship is going to explode in T-minus 5 minutes, because there was a fire that was set. And I don't know, I guess it's advanced enough to extrapolate how long it would take for the fire to hit the fuel and blow everything up. I guess, I don't know, but it was like, and it was like commenting on stuff that was going on, like, you know, they were like talking about stuff, and it was like, there's no time for talking, you must leave the ship. I'm like, what? I don't, you know, it's ridiculous, and it kind of didn't fit with, well, I mean, the whole movie kind of is ridiculous, but it just turned comedic there during what should be like the most tense time in the movie. So I just don't get it. And there's also things that don't make sense when they're in this tense situation and they're being attacked, and this guy, this girl, and the girl just says, the guy just goes, "Oh, dang, you know what? I forgot your birthday and your birthday present." Like, you don't just talk about that. And then she's like, "Oh, that's all right. You were just going to give me the wrong present anyways." And what present should I give you? A wedding dress, because we want to get married. Why? Because I'm pregnant. I'm like, this lighthearted, and they were doing it lightheartedly and happily. Conversation does not happen during these situations. I don't know. So the plot tries. I mean, it works enough, but it's still bad. 2 out of 5. Acting, 1 out of 5. Look, it's bad. It's not as bad as the last two, but that's not saying much because it's really easy to be better than the last two movies acting. But these acting, and of course, once again, it's dubbed, and you got these dub situations where you know it's dubbed because the actors are not moving their mouths, their lips are not moving, and there's still words coming out of them, and it's bad that way, and also the performances are just kinda very miss. There's some hits, but very miss. And speaking of the plot, there was a Chekhov's gun moment that they completely failed because I talked about the doctor with the syringe, and it seemed like it might have been something that could deal with the fish thing, or maybe a cure or some kind of protection, but they never do anything with it, really. He drops it and nothing more. It's almost as if they were writing the script and they're like, "Oh, we need to finish this up, so just end the movie and just forget about any other plot threads." Yeah, so whatever. Back to the acting score, 1 out of 5. Nudity, I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5. There are some quick scenes with some nice breasts. 2 of the ladies, which is a nice contrast in style. Because one is a nice voluptuous, not like super large, but very nice, and the other is probably like an A cup. And so for the connoisseurs of like the medium size and the connoisseurs of the smaller sizes, there is a little bit for everyone. And there's a nice shower scene with a little frontal if you care. Though it's very blue. The rooms sometimes are really blue illuminated. It's kind of weird, but anyways. But, of course, she's showering in the same bathroom where there's all that vomit, so I don't know. That's really weird. So 2.5 out of 5. My enjoyment factor is a 3 out of 5 because, like I said, it is an interesting concept. It's kind of sleazy. There are a lot of pieces that I really like about this movie. However, there's a lot of pieces that I don't. And it's one of those movies that, like, it could have been great if they would have fixed some issues, button up that script, maybe lose the ridiculousness toward the end, or just make it ridiculous throughout, like just make it a horror comedy at that point. But it's a 3 out of 5 in that aspect. My overall impression, of course, is a 2 out of 5 because it has really poor execution. There are these, like I don't know, they lost their budget or whatever, but they had these fish, and it was really bad, like blue screen matting on top of whatever, and apparently the fish were from the piranha to the spawning because they can fly around in the air, which is really weird, and it's really fake and really bad and really horrible effects that really take you out of it and go, "Oh God, this is some Birdemic shit going on here," but not CG because this is a bit before that. And another thing that makes no sense is that the computer systems all of a sudden just started malfunctioning, and I just don't understand why they would just randomly, if they would have shown scenes of the fish like eating computer components and stuff like that, maybe that would make sense, but it just seemed to just go nuts just to go nuts, whatever. Anyways, so 2 out of 5. That averages out to a 2.1 out of 5. Look, If I had money and a film contract, I would probably try to remake this, and I think I would make it a lot better if I could get the budget and do the practical effects and not worry about, release it unrated, not worry about the MPAA, because I think I could make a superior version of this film. But there you have it. Creatures from the Abyss. Tell me what you think about it in the comment sections. Have you seen it? Do you agree with me? Is it on the cusp but needs a lot more? Or is it actually really good or complete trash? I don't know. Leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscribe. Ring the bell. Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. No one's listening at this time. But if you are, then episode 26 is in the bag. And I will see you next time on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror. And remember, Internet, you stay scary. And remember, in a movie, don't eat the fish. Don't ever eat the fish. Ah!